Hi, my name is David, and I'm a crazy angel. Just thought I'd do something different today. That's all.
You should keep this a ritual.
Just to keep the yeah.
We have to adjust his medication, Levi.
Hello and welcome back to the Crazy Angels podcast. I'm with Pascal, Dennis, and David Logan. Hi guys. Today we wanna talk about a song from the upcoming album, and it's So What You're Saying Is, which is about the brilliant but at the same time controversial Dr. Jordan Peterson. Pascal, can you give us a brief introduction to what the song is about?
Yeah, Jordan Peterson has been called the foremost conservative commentator in the world. And regardless of what you think of him, I think most people would agree he's very polarizing and very smart. And his exposure and growth as a public commentator really was triggered in 2018 by an interview, a famous combative interview that he had with BBC personality Cathy Newman. And it's one that's become widely discussed for a number of reasons. And it was so memorable that I wrote a song about it. And it's in a boogie style. It's a funny song, I think. And that's a little bit of background. Maybe, David, you can play a bit and we can do a deeper dive.
Sure. I just have to ask you, when you said it triggered controversy, did you choose the word triggered on purpose? Was that just a happy coincidence?
Unconscious.
Okay, I just wanted to know. All right, here we go.
TV star, but BBC and Jaguar, what you're saying is I got no clue. You're saying is I can't catch you. You're saying this could be my Waterloo. You're a college prof, a dog enough, Saskatchewan or the hockey puck, but what you're saying is I'm off the wall, a nasty girl. I know it all. What you're saying is I got no sense at all. I'm gonna set you up just to tear you down. I'll be the toad of London town. What you're saying is,
I don't know why I just decided to do a few cuts there. I hope those creative cuts were welcome.
They were good. They were good.
Okay. We're trying to spice things up a little bit. All right.
So I'll just read from from Wiki just to describe the interview. January 2018, Cathy Newman, BBC personality, interviewed Jordan Peterson. And after it, Peterson experienced this gigantic increase in popularity. And the interview itself has become famous and widely discussed because it was full of contentious exchanges and a confrontational style. And many viewers criticized Cathy Newman for what they perceived as her aggressive, dismissive approach. Others criticized Jordan Peterson. And since then, he's been a very polarizing figure. We are apolitical. We welcome all opinion, all spectrum, parts of the political spectrum, as long as they're based in respect for people. But what motivated me to write the song is my strong belief that freedom of speech is the best antidote, and a shared and open exchange of ideas, even with people you disagree with, is essential. Bad ideas will get rejected thereby, and often the discussion about ideas that you may disagree with will often increase your understanding and your consciousness of another person's reality. And then we start to get a shared understanding, and we start to break down the terrible, terrible divisions that we see now. Obviously, we're certainly in America and Canada and other Western countries, we're very divided. So this is a love song, if you will, to freedom of speech. We don't take sides, but I try to keep it light with the boogie feel, and David's and the band's arrangement and playing just takes that baton and runs with it. And maybe I'll pass the baton to David.
Yeah, sure. So I guess one of the first things I just wanted to say is a quote by Voltaire, which I don't know which book it comes from, but he said, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
It's a beauty. That's one of my favorite too.
And Evelyn Beatrice Hall, who is a civil rights activist, also used it. And, some people attribute it to Voltaire, some attribute it to her. She certainly brought it into the consciousness. And I guess, before I talk about the music side, I just, wanted to say, like, you have to let the people that you disagree with speak, no matter what. If you don't like, even if they are, Pascal said, we agree with everyone as long as, they're respectful of humanity. But there are people who are not respectful of humanity or of particular groups of people. We still have to give them the right to speak. We can disagree with it. We don't have to listen. We're not forced to listen. We can stop listening and walk away and live our life. Isn't that a nice way to handle something you don't agree with? Just walk away. Enjoy your life. Boop. Okay, maybe there's a jump cut, but anyway, let's talk about the music now. So here we are in the song, and this is Davide Sambrota and Luca Camarota and myself, and we're all doing all the parts, various parts. We got horns. I'm going to start today with. Oops, I forgot to hit the solo thingy over here. There's like this little trick in Logic now. Yeah, there we go. That's better. So when I solo, it won't cut my voice. There we go. So again, like the processing style, for Pascal's voice.
Oh, agitate around a TV star, but BBC to jag you all, but what you're saying is I got no.
So what I'm essentially doing here is I'm again using this this thing here called Pure Plate. Let me switch my camera. This thing called Pure Plate here, and actually I'll just quickly stop sharing for 2 seconds. This is like an emulation of a very old style reverberation unit that would send the voice through literally a steel plate. And so we can control a lot of the parameters of that. And then the other thing I'm doing just a little bit is I'm putting him through what's called an algorithmic reverb, which is this guy, the Lexicon 224. And, we love technology because technology is helpful.
Yeah.
So we're not anti-technology. And in the old days, this little white box would be, if you look at, old recording sessions from the 70s and 80s and 90s, you'd always see this white box in the middle of the recording console. And this is an emulation of what that box does. And because we have cool technology here, we can actually use our fingers and stuff and, all kinds of fun, cool, interesting things, all to get this great vocal texture. So let's go back to that.
Oh, agitate around a TV star, but BBC to jag you all, but what you're saying is I got no clue.
I just wanted to get the right kind of space for Pascal's voice. That's a very important thing. Like, Pascal is responsible for singing, also writing the songs and the lyrics. But my point being is I don't get involved very much because he is probably the most consistent singer I've ever worked with. So I know he's going to always deliver. And the reason I know that is that 60 to 80% roughly, I don't know the exact number, of his rough vocals wind up being the final vocal. We're both like, that's pretty good. I don't think you're going to improve. He'll try, and I'll listen, of course, but very often it's always the first try usually, and he's very consistent. So
if I can add, this was a tough vocal because it's long phrases, so you take really deep breaths. So for singers out there, good vocal technique entails practicing every day, and you can find great YouTube videos describing how to do this. This one was especially challenging because I'm singing it from the point of view of the interviewer, who's female. So I've got to do it in a higher timbre. It's got to sound like it could be a woman. I don't want to sound like a man in this. So it was a challenging song to sing for both of those and reasons.
You still delivered. So
well, thank you.
And we don't use a lot of backing vocals, but when I feel it's needed,
what you're saying is,
and that's
what you're saying is,
I think it's me and Davide.
What you're saying is.
Oh, that's
awesome. So Davide and I will throw things back and forth, and maybe I'll throw in, maybe I threw in the middle voice, and then he did harmonies. I can't remember, but this song needed the backing vocals, and so on every chorus, just very very simply, we just, except for the last one because it was different. It's just like an outro, really. There was only 2 choruses, and so we laid those down right under Pascal.
What you saying is,
what you saying is,
what you saying is,
what you saying is, I don't know.
And I remember
something like the Beach Boys.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah, because Brian Wilson, man, that guy with the harmonies, man, they were just something else, delicious and dreamy. So then, we did the boogie woogie thing, and the boogie woogie and swing, originated. Well, there was a piano player named Fats Waller, and he's the one who went from straight eighth notes into swinging the triplet feel. And it happened over about 4 or 5 years, and you can actually listen to the recordings of Fats Waller, and you hear he had this very straight style, and then it got more syncopated and loose, and then eventually we got swing, and he is probably single-handedly, well, actually he played piano with two-handedly, responsible for giving us the swing feel. So the boogie woogie is more of a rock thing, but it does borrow very much from that swing style. So of course Davide starts it off right. I cannot describe to you how difficult that is to do legitimately the way Davide does.
It's so wonderful.
I say this, I don't know, a lot. We're so lucky to have him on this project because he's so diverse. He can just flawlessly and effortlessly bounce from one style to another, and then he puts a Hammond on top. Like that is not easy to have the touch. And it's the little details also, because, I'm coaching everybody involved in the project on, production and how production works. And the fact that I didn't have to tell him to use what's called a Leslie speaker. So the Hammond organ was famous when paired with the Leslie speaker, because the Leslie speaker, there were 2 speakers and it could rotate. And you could change the speed of the rotation of the speakers. It was amazing. Advanced technology, And this is funny. I forgot the song, but it was on Revolver. And John Lennon had an idea he said, well, because they're in Abbey Road, which is huge. And he's like, well, why don't we place 2 mics? I have an idea. Let's put 2 mics in the center of the room, and we can suspend me from a rope, and I'll swing around the microphones and do the vocal.
Wow.
And George Martin is like, well, that's quite a nice idea, but we don't need to suspend you from the ceiling. There's a speaker called a Hammond that can do that already. And it's much safer. I'm sorry, I did the worst George Martin ever. But he was a consummate professional and a total gentleman.
Yeah.
And so rather than saying, oh, that's a stupid idea, you don't know what a Leslie is, which is gaslighting and manipulative and just kind of not very nice. He was just like, oh, well, let's go with the Leslie because then, it's safer and, we're not going to, we can rotate the sound. And that's exactly what they did. They put the Leslie. So if you listen to this organ here very carefully, you'll hear.
Yeah.
The rotation is changing. And so I'm very proud of Davide that he got that detail about that instrument, right? Okay, so then we have Luca Camarota on rhythm and lead.
Oh.
Just that alone, we could make an album of that, and
Wow.
yet it's all part of the fabric of Pascal's amazing song. So Pascal loves his claps, so we always put those claps in, and then very basic shuffling drum sounds. It's not nothing too crazy here. What's we're trying to get like an old style drum feel. This is all done with drum pads electronically.
Yeah.
And I'm a drummer and I have electronic drum pads with the foot pedals, and so I bust it out and I just kind of, and I'm like, oh, I really should have practiced more when I was younger. This is hard.
It's impossible to keep your feet still with that rhythm.
Yeah, it's everything together, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Davide did the bass line on this after laying down the keyboards. Very simple, very simple. This is called a walking bass line because it literally, the rhythm never changes, and you just feel like you're walking along, strolling along. And we always we love and return. Like sometimes we do live bass, but sometimes we don't. And when we don't, we always go with Sir Paul McCartney's bass because it just sounds. And in the mix,
Hey, you all know what you're saying is I got no clue. You're saying is I can't catch you. You're saying this.
and so this is another kind of arrangement that I refer to it as what I call a self-arranging song. In other words, there's nothing tricky going on here. We're doing horn parts. It's all derivative, right? Music that's derivative. Because in some ways it needs to be, because what we're doing here is we're delivering a message through lyrics, and we're having fun with the subject matter.